You can't jump into altering or manipulating the quantum field or the matrix or wherever you want to call it first go. You can't do it. You can't do that any more than you walk into a born again evangelical church, throw your arms in the air and say, I am saved and now I'm the ultimate Christian. Nothing in works like that. There are no quick answers. Everything is in a growing pain, a growing experience, and it is an initiative process. And the same very much applies to magic. Now, people who dive into this idea of magic or sorcery or the occult in terms of practitioner way have to be, they can't just jump in and say, oh, I know. You see, you got this lot that's going on with these new age circles, things like sex magic and stuff. These people are all going to go crazy and lose their minds. You have to go in very carefully, knowing what you're doing. But more importantly than anything else, you have to cultivate the right mindset. This is what's extremely important about this stuff. If you don't have the foundation, then you cannot build upon that. Think of the tarot card again. In the tarot, you have to tear down the tower in the tarot, destroy yourself as you previously were in terms of your functioning, and then rebuild again from that. Now, so a lot of people who, they go on websites or they look online, they think they can do magic, or they see on some new age bimbo talking about sex magic and stuff like that. It doesn't work like that. And people say to me, what's a good way to start? Well, a good way to start is getting yourself into a magical mindset. Now, that is the foundation. You cannot progress into the idea of messing with the occult, playing with magic, expecting results, or achieving anything, or going into something as intense as chaos magic, if you do not have the preliminary experience and mindset. Now, I'll give you an example. When people ask me what's the books I should read, I never give them the names of magic books. I tell them to start looking at the work of people like Carl Jung and synchronicity, because when you move into a world, start understanding synchronicities, you start appearing everywhere. Then you're suddenly aware that the quantum field is hackable. There's an element you can hack it. This is why dreams are also very important, and also creativity is very important. These are means whereby you can learn that, yes, this thing is malleable. There is a plasticity to this reality. And it builds your confidence rather than jumping in saying, I am freighter this and I can make a sigil that will do that. It doesn't work like that. You have to have the right foundation and grounding first. The work of Anthony Peake, his books on even things like deja vu, you realize that there's an impermanence to this actual structure of this mechanical universe. Especially like his book, The Daemon. I would definitely highly recommend that book as a starting point, and watch his lectures. The guy in his work creates a sense of confidence in this idea that this is not a mechanical structure, and there is a plasticity to the nature of these things. These things are very important, these ideas. And then after you've developed this kind of magical mindset, now often in magical schools, you will have an incantation, say a morning salutation to the sun or something like that, that puts you in this magical mindset. I think that's too early on. I think that's something down the road. I think that it's like the best priests and rabbis are the guys who actually have a deep soul about them to begin with. This is why mainstream religion fails so much, is people just think they can go into seminaries or rabbinical training colleges and come out, all holy on the other side, like taking a test. It's just the same thing. You have to have that grounding. You have to have that wisdom, that knowledge that this, it's no use going around saying, I saw a David Icke video and he talks about that the universe is, the quantum field is everything is possible. That's not it. That's like the born again Christian who thinks they've discovered Jesus. You have to go deeper than that. You have to have it, not even a confidence in this belief or even saying it as a mantra. You have to have it as an absolute reality. Like, that your breathing is automatic. Well, not in my case, I'm an asthmatic, but that your heartbeat is automatic, your blood circulation system, your nervous system, these are all automatic. You have to then you have to then apply that same automatic, instinctual, innate, intuitive assumption that the universe is a plasticizable, malleable thing in terms of its subatomic structure. It has to be like just something you just know. And saying it's, oh, everything is an illusion, that's not the same thing. Let me tell you something. If you go around thinking that everything is illusion and you can have anything you want, you'll never get there. Because what you're doing is you're actually solidifying. You're actually almost putting yourself under a reverse spell of solidifying the the quantum field. This is why Satanists make a lot of sense when they actually get involved very deeply in the idea of the mechanics of nature, because they're respecting the structure. You cannot alter the subatomic structure unless you have a full respect of the atomic structure, the material structure, and the molecular structure. You can't just say, oh, they don't exist, they're all illusions. That's not true at all. You try walking through a wall, you won't. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many non-compliance dances you do. Or, put your arms in the air and sing I Need Love, or I Choose Love. You won't be able to walk through that wall. You won't be able to do those things. You've got to actually develop a more. It's science. We're dealing with science here, okay? We're not dealing with religion. We're dealing with science that comes close to a philosophy, okay? But very much connected to an art. It's an artistic form. Faith, spirituality will not get you to plasticize reality. A pragmatic and a prosaic understanding of these processes will. And then applying a sensible approach to things like symbolism, not being terrified of all-seeing eyes and this kind of thing, because you've been told somewhere that it's something called that doesn't exist called the Illuminati uses them to get against you. This ignorance will only further trap you. So that's how and then when you've gone through all this, a year or two of that, then you're ready to pick up books by the likes of David Conway and Julius Evora, and then start looking into how ritual magic works. Before that, forget about it. You've got to do your basic training. Carl Jung, Anthony Peake, Michael Talbot, and even Charles Darwin. Even looking at ancient history and thinking about like ancient structures, you've got to get that first. Taking drugs like ayahuasca won't get you there. Taking mushrooms will only give you hints of what's possible, but it won't take you there. You understand? This is the problem with these ayahuasca and mushroom type DMT cults, is that that's not the answer. That's giving you a reflection, a daimonic reflection of the possibilities that lie beyond within this material reality. So you cannot break down the quantum field unless you fully respect it. And you cannot fully respect the quantum field until you give full validation and respect to this mechanical universe. Because one is the daimonic reflection of the other, and the other is the possibilities of the full totality of what can be achieved when you have this mindset. It's no use jumping in and saying, oh, I can do magic, or I can be a magician, or I can do sigils and change the world, or I can do this, that, and the other. Forget about it. That's like born again Christianity. You've got to go back to the basics, build yourself up, and you've got to learn how to be humble, because you're no special than anyone else when it comes to this stuff. This is a big problem too. It attracts a lot of egotistic, narcissistic people. If one thing you do learn from this stuff is that it absolutely fucking demolishes your ego. And not for spiritual reasons, but it does it in the most painful, and it does it in the most convulsive way, because it's not that your ego is a problem, it's your belief that your ego is a problem. That's the problem. Okay, go ahead, be safe, but get your groundings first.